call the Central Lake Township public hearing to order. Public hearing is for the year 2014-15 year budget, the general fund, fire fund. It's Wednesday, February 19th, 2014. Start with the pledge of allegiance to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Gadwau.
Present.
Kosloski here. Mullens.
Here.
Smith.
Here.
Dean.
There.
Gadwau.
Okay, we'll open the public hearing. This budget is based on the township collecting 1 mil. We've set the fire department budget at 2 mil. And our public improvement budget is also at 1 mil voted. Open this up to the public. Do we have any questions? Walter?
Are those mills same as last year?
Same as last year.
Okay. Can I ask some questions then about the,
Can ask any question you want to ask.
okay. I notice on the revenue, general fund revenue for 14-15, state shared revenue, there's a large increase in the amount of money coming from the state, approximately $9,000. Is that, are they already notified the townships that's the case, or is that a guess, or?
That was based more or less, we had it underestimated last year, they were able to pay more than what it was, and right now at the present time, Snyder is talking about increasing it again. Whether that'll happen, I don't know. I believe that was the exact amount we collected last year, wasn't it?
Last year, the budget started out at 82,000.
They were talking about cuts, so we based that budget on additional cuts, which didn't happen.
And you think this year's gonna be higher?
Yes.
So, but there's nothing confirming that yet, though, is it?
Well, I mean, all revenues are what you plan. I mean, the taxes, that's pretty well written in stone, but
The state has indicated as well that they're planning on sharing more because sales tax revenue was higher than they expected, and the general state budget is higher than they expected as well, so they're trying to find out where to put that money back to the township. So that's part of where it's coming from. Was I don't remember the figure, but it was a few hundred million over is what they thought, or somewhere around there that they were giving back.
yeah. No, all that,
So-
was actually spelled out for Central Lake Township. Anyway, we feel comfortable with that amount. But
Okay, that's my question. Because that's, if that doesn't come in, then the deficit's bigger. Second question. General fund revenue, reimbursements. What exactly is reimbursements?
Well, like last year, we had that accident out at the cemetery. Some of the costs that come in from the insurance company,
Okay.
that come out of our cemetery fund, but then we were reimbursed for those funds.
So that's why, do we receive, see, in this general fund revenue budget for reimbursements, you have $5,000. Reimbursements in last year's budget was $6,200. Are you saying, I don't understand the difference. Why are they so far apart?
Where's he at on reimbursements for $5,000?
The previous year.
I have both years here.
Oh, okay.
You know, at different times, we look back over the budgets of different years, and sometimes it looks like And what we do is take an average on, I mean, this is just what we expect to get. I mean, again, I'm gonna repeat myself, the only thing that's pretty much, written in stone on there is, your taxes. I mean, a lot of times you hear where somebody has to, redo their budget because revenues are falling way short of projected funds.
Oh, I'm just, what's the definition of reimbursements again?
Anything that we get reimbursed for. A lot of times, we'll have an election. We had one, for, what was it, the Ambulance Authority? And the Ambulance Authority was responsible for that, money for that election. We took that money out of our cost center, and they reimbursed us for it.
The village, when they have their elections, they reimburse you too, don't they? You guys pay?
No, you.
Schools reimbursed me.
Oh, okay.
We took the venue away from all the venues. I mean, the
Yep.
villages, the township runs all the elections.
Yep.
So, my only point is that it's a big decrease from one year to the next, meaning 2
We
years.
didn't get as much as we thought we'd get, Paul.
No, I'm looking at, you're saying in the budget for 13-14, where you estimated 6,200, you didn't come anyplace close to that, so now this year you got it much lower? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I don't, I know. Well, I gotta look up the figures, I don't know what we got in reimbursement last year. Do you have it there, Andrew?
I don't have it.
You know, I mean, all I'm gonna do is keep repeating myself. Well, we go through previous years and, we try and come up with what we're coming up with, and we fall away short.
Okay, well, I just don't understand why it's so much lower this year than last year.
But
Because we didn't get what we,
Last year you didn't get what you thought?
no, that's why, so we
So we cut it.
decreased it.
Okay, well, that's it.
Well, and now we expect to get more money in state revenue sharing, so we increased it.
Okay,
I mean, I'm gonna just keep repeating myself, none of this is in stone. There's no, we might get nothing in reimbursement.
right. So your total general fund revenue actually has went up a little bit over last year's, correct? Your estimate is
Correct?
by about $6,800. But on the same token, we've increased, your estimate to be needed to balance the budget is higher than last year's by about, I don't know, $1,500, $1,600, something like that. This will lead into my question about, I know every year in the past, when you get the audit, never have you, the last few years, you've never had to use transfer from fund balance, because you've never actually spent all the money each fiscal year.
Last year, we had, our revenues, what we felt we were going to get, $323,252. When we got done, actually what we received was $347,478. So naturally, looking at that, we're going to increase what we feel we'll get in revenue.
Last year, yeah. So you never used any money from fund balance for fiscal year 12-13.
We underestimated our revenues. We're conservative when we do our revenues.
Okay. I have some questions on the expense side of the budget now. I noticed in the first section, I guess, I don't know what it's called. In the past, in this section, you've had an expense called postage, but this year you have no expense called postage in this section.
Some of this we moved the postage, we were taking it out of cost centers and we're trying to get it in the exact cost center where it's coming from.
Oh, so the postage has been moved from here down to things like, the clerks for elections and for the assessor for mailing out stuff, and instead of having it in, just did.
Right, the previous clerk, to save bookkeeping, tried to get, wanted, even like the pensions all in one cost center. Well, our new clerk has felt it comfortable in putting it into the exact cost centers where it's coming from.
I also noticed in Township Board, I guess is what it's called, wages has went down dramatically, and I assume it's for trustees, that's what it was called last year anyway. On the first account, 101-101-702-000.
Originally, when that was set up, we had the trustees that were doing the waste, doing all the rec work, in other words, our lake end and road ends. And we put, we had 2 full-time employees and 1 part-time, which they had time to do these. So we plan on keeping the same personnel this year, and originally when it started out, we had 2 trustees that did all the work.
Okay. So some of your full-time employees are doing more,
Doing the labor.
I don't wanna call it management. but,
Labor.
Labor. They're doing the labor on the access sites and any place else.
Well, I'm looking at, this isn't access sites I'm at right now.
Where you at?
I'm at Township Board, the top of the first part of the general fund.
The trustees were paid for that work, they're not this year.
Right.
Tony and the DPW is doing it, so the wages were cut.
So wages were cut here, and then it's not felt in any other accounts, or is it gonna be felt in those accounts too?
Felt like what? What do you mean felt?
I mean, they used to, didn't they the trustees used to get much for, what do you call it, Parks and Recreation or something?
Well, that's the access sites, but,
Yeah,
yeah.
but there's also
We're out of that. The trustees are out of that.
same way, yeah, with what do you call it, recycling place.
I'm still overseeing the recycling. Sam is overseeing the cemetery.
Oh, so
So
trustees
that's-
are still overseeing those 2 operations.
Right. Mhm.
But also there is, we have a resolution that if anyone works up at waste receiving, which Bill had to do this last weekend, that he'll be paid $15 an hour. So
Okay,
there, if someone gets sick, employees leave, there's a possibility that Bill or Sam decides to go up there, that their wages could be increased.
okay, so that change also then changes the medical insurance coverage, because I see it's came down, not that much, $2,200.
When we did last year's budget, we didn't know what our cost was gonna be on insurance. And to
Coming
be-
west and,
And to be honest with you, right now, we don't know for sure.
Okay, so that's it.
But we feel comfortable with the price that we have, the amount of money that we have in there to handle it.
What does MESC trustee mean?
MESC, that'd be our unemployment.
Well, I mean, account number 101-101-720-000, MESC trustees. What does that mean? It's right, it's the fifth line down on
That
the first
shouldn't be
page.
trustees for
So
that.
it just says MESC, it doesn't say trustees.
No, in the old version, it had
Oh, the old
trustee
version
in
it
the,
did.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at last year's budget and this year's budget.
Well,
It's not on this year's, it just says
No.
MESC.
That word trustee shouldn't be on there,
Okay, so what does it mean? What is MESC?
right?
I think it-
Unemployment.
Michigan Employment
Security Commission.
Security Commission.
So you're paying, that's a direct result of going down to one person during the winter? So you're figuring there's gonna be more unemployment payments or something? Because it's
We
went
are
up
down
from
there.
last year's
We
budget.
are paying unemployment right now.
So that's the reason why this is, well, that's in this current budget though. You're expecting the same thing next year then?
Could be, we really don't know, but if you have weather like this, we're only gonna be down to one.
Now, you're talking about what was in the last year's budget?
Yeah, last year was 3,000, this year is going up to
I know,
6,000.
but that doesn't, the 3,000, what we're interested in is the actual cost of that, what it cost us last year. Last year, it cost us $5,585.55. So naturally, we're going to raise that budget in that cost center. We were way over. We don't line item
Okay,
budget.
so last year was
We didn't put
10
enough-
months ago, right?
We didn't put enough money in there.
This is the 14-15 budget we're going through right now.
Correct.
Right.
And you're talking about the 12-13 budget when you underestimated it.
Right, so
Yeah.
what do you base your figures on? You look back on last year and you said, we didn't have enough in that line item. So you put the amount in there you feel that will be the actual cost. We're trying to reflect exact expenses.
Okay. So the bottom line is you're expecting that to go up. So I understand.
I mean, this year, I've been very fortunate. We have a treasurer that understands budgets, went through all the costs, and actually, everyone went through their own cost center, and we're just projecting on costs that we feel we're going to have.
In the same section, maintenance and contracts. Oops, wait a minute. I'm sorry, insurance and bonds, just above the one I just mentioned. So we're estimating that that's going up dramatically also this fiscal year. By $5,000 approximately.
Last year, we had estimated $9,000. Actual cost was $13,245.20. So naturally, we're gonna add more money in there, won't we?
In this fiscal year, 13-14, I know it's not over yet, is things like insurance and bonds already been expended? Or is that still to be come out of the budget?
I would have to look into that cost center. Would you know offhand?
Elections, 190 elections. I think I know the answer to this. This has went up from last year, but last year we didn't have any elections, so I assume that's just, because we know we're gonna have some elections this year, so this year we're budgeting more money in that cost center.
I'll have 3 elections. I've got one in May, one in August, one in
Yeah,
November.
so that's the answer to the question, that's, okay, thank you. Cost center assessor, 209. Postage is really different. Are we doing something different now with postage, so the assessors needs less mailings to go out, or whatever?
We're moving postage around so that he doesn't need as much, and if he does, if the county does our taxes or mailing for him, we pay the county. And we take it out of a different account.
I think what we factored for both, the assessor and the treasurer for postage is when we go down to the county, we use their metered machine.
Right.
And, Jim sends out his, assessment notices, and so that's one run on all the parcels. And so that's $1,000, and then like daily mailing, comes out of the clerks. And that's the same with the treasurer, is, I go down to the county twice to use their metered machine. So we factor about $1,000 per run for all the parcels. And so that's what those two are. And then any extra postage we need, the clerk, provides that postage.
Okay, so we decreased by 2,500 in the assessor's account, but some of that might go up then in the clerk's account, right?
Correct.
All right. See, last year, in the cost center 215 court, there was not any postage. This year we had 3,000, so it's, where did the court's postage come from last year?
And you just got done telling you, he removed a lot of that money from postage and put it in the clerk's cost center.
No, no, no,
Came out of
no,
town
no, no.
board, it
I'm
came
looking
out
at
of
clerk's
assessment.
cost center.
It came out of
Yeah, I
town
know.
board, it was all over. I wanted it all in mine, so, because I print stamps.
So.
Okay, oh, I got you, I understand, sorry. The supplies and miscellaneous expenses in the clerk's account, I assume that's up also because of elections, or not?
Election expenses should come out of elections.
So, well, that's went up quite a bit then compared to last year. Last year was only $700, and this year it's $23,000.
That's what the expenses were, so we had to raise them.
So last year it was way under budgeted?
We just doing a budget resolution to put more money in the clerk's cost center at this meeting.
Cemeteries, cost center 276. Capital outlays, what would be included in capital outlays?
We'd have to buy a new mower. We're doing our own fertilizer. We probably will possibly buy a liquid spreader. Just things like that.
It's less than the year before's estimates. So you figure there's gonna be less things like that you're going to need?
Yeah, we shouldn't have the trees coming out this year that we had previous years.
Oh, good point.
We've gone to fertilizing ourselves. There was quite a savings there. Our employees did it instead of contracting it out.
But, So the capital outlay are for those typical things then, like you just mentioned, for fertilizing,
Well, no, equipment, not fertilizer. Fertilizer would not come out of capital outlays.
oh, I mean equipment itself.
Equipment itself. If we had to add any piping to our sprinkling system or something like that, that would come out of capital outlays.
Okay. Cost center 526, waste receiving. It appears from, it appears that the cost for large items and the compactors up at the recycling plant is based on the current year, we need more money in those two accounts.
That's correct. We're gonna add more money in that cost center at this meeting. We're short in that cost center.
Are we looking for ways to recoup that money in the fees that we charge up there?
Last year, the cost, we subsidized that by only about $2,000. We try and make that revenues meet the expenses. Now, we don't have any large pickup here, so $2,000, and I don't have the exact figure, but it was a little over $2,000. We feel that we're subsidizing, and that's within a reasonable range.
So we're not looking into that?
And we look into it every month, you know, but we don't have a crystal ball that will give us out an exact figure.
Well, I assume it's went up ever since the recycling started, right?
No, it actually went down.
The big items went down?
There wasn't as many people coming up here, and now I think your business is increasing up there.
Yes, the business is increasing up there. Our biggest thing is the, our increase, and I think, let me look at this. Building materials, we did raise that. Building materials is what's costing us to haul out of there. The large items, that costs us too. But the rest of it, we get money back for the steel that's hauled out of there, because we got somebody that's buying the steel from us. I mean, it's not gonna be no $2,000 or $3,000, it could be $200 this month. 2 months down the line, it could be $300 down. It all depends on what the steel fluctuation is, what we can get for it. Before, we used to have to pay for that
The
stuff.
increase estimate for this year's budget is based on knowledge of last year's account is in trouble, because you said you're gonna pass a thing, put money into that account.
That's correct.
So either obviously you must be doing more of that kind of work, otherwise the cost wouldn't be going up unless the people that do the hauling and whoever we're paying fees, either we're not getting enough revenue from the things we're turning in, or the cost to take care of it's going up, one of the two.
And we also, in our projection for revenue, we increased that for this coming year.
But rates aren't going up for anything.
Rates, we haven't increased the rates, no. It's
So-
volume.
We already answered the questions on cost center 691, Parks and Recreation. The road millage, public improvements fund I'm looking at.
Public improvement, that's our roads.
right? This is really up in the air right now because we don't know what's going on with Old State Road and I don't know if all the taxes are in or yet not, but I suppose there's some weight people that's not in, so we really don't know the numbers that we're gonna need here, do we?
We know the tax is awful close, because, what we don't get, we get the delinquent taxes from the county, which, we'll go ahead and, what we don't know is what the road commission is going to do. If the state gives the road commission the money, they will put the match into the section that they have planned. Actually, they have both sections planned for this coming year, and they expect to get the money. But the road commission without that money does not have the money to do this. So they don't want, we have a contract with the road commission, and they don't want to give us a letter releasing that money until they know that
Right.
the state comes up with their
And
money.
you're guessing maybe in April or something, you might know that.
He has high hopes of March, and he would like to go out for bids in March. But it's, again, this is based on, when somebody else is furnishing the money, you cannot, they're the ones that have the control.
So this is a revenue account, and, taxes, I don't know if taxes increased or decreased from this coming fiscal year to the last fiscal year that these were based on. But both years, the numbers are exactly the same for revenue, and it seems to me probably not too likely.
Was it, didn't they increase a couple $1,000 this
Yeah, I
year?
think it was a slight increase, taxable value, at least, I don't have last year's rate here in front of me.
Whatever the taxable value increases of value of the township, it collects 1 mil, that's the amount that the taxes will go up.
Right, so that's,
Okay, what,
that's $248,056.01. Is
no,
that from the 1 mil?
no, it's not that much, well,
I mean, excuse me, 121,440 is this the 1 mil?
Yes.
That's what you got projected for,
okay.
yep.
Which is exactly the same as the last 13-14 budget. Doesn't seem like that could be possible.
I thought it increased, and it, Andrew,
It did, I don't know if this is a rate sheet because I remember the fund balance should be a little higher as well. But not this year.
I mean, I'll tell you in a minute, here exactly what it is. Possible we got the wrong,
It looks like it's a duplicate, I mean,
Okay, give me a minute, Walter.
okay, I'm sorry.
This year should be $123,057.83. That'll fluctuate just a little bit, depending on the delinquent taxes.
123,000 what?
$57.
So, right around 1%, right?
Pardon?
I said, was that right around 1%, I think, is the increase.
Yeah.
And it says the state grant, Metro Act is 3,100, the interest is 200, the contribution from fund balance, all these numbers are exactly the same as last year.
Well, then it's,
So, I mean, if you're gonna pass this budget tonight, you might wanna put in the correct figures.
I'd have to look in the package here. If it is, Walter,
Got the wrong-
they'll be in here at,
down, we were discussing a budget development, was a current tax of 123,000.
Yeah, I don't have the final ones here.
An interest of 300, and then a transfer from fund balance of 226,700.
226,000,
700.
and the Metro,
No Metro Act this year. Is that correct? No Metro Act this year?
No, there'll be a metro.
There will be one?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't have that wrote down.
I've got 30, I take 3,100.
well, that's what it was last year.
Okay, I picked up the wrong figures, that's what I'm saying, I take 3,100. I don't have it on my sheet.
Well, odds are the state Metro Act's not gonna change that much anyways,
No,
from year to year. It'll be
Right,
within
Metro
pennies.
Act, right,
Yeah, it's within pennies.
and it's possible it could even drop.
So the new number,
We'll use the same figures.
Use this.
okay, so you're gonna use last year's numbers, okay. Fire department budget,
Fire department budget roughly is the same budget that we had last year. It dropped because we had, money in there for the Ranger, which, actually, they're not looking at replacing anything of that large a cost.
that's what I was gonna ask you, there's no, where is it? Capital equipment, there's nothing, you're not planning anything too big then, and
Not this year.
so we're in good shape with all our equipment and everything.
They're in good shape. They just had to add equipment on the Ranger. They ended up, the company that did the work with about $7,000 and donated it. So there was no cost there, and they just, well, I should say the township or the fire department just had someone write a grant for new turnout gear, which if we get that, that'll furnish everyone with new gear, but we have to wait on that.
Well, not knowing that much about the fire department, what's the Ranger?
It's a vehicle that they can get back in. They can use it in the wintertime, they can use it in the summertime, they can get back in and get people out.
It's kind of like a four-wheeler,
Four-wheeler.
like
It's
a fancy
Track.
four-wheeler.
And we got wheels and tracks for it.
Tracks
Oh,
on
okay.
the wheels and sun.
So,
They just got that a couple years ago, right? It's not that old, is it?
Last year.
Last
last
year?
year, last year.
Okay. I have another question, which I don't quite understand. So they're used in the expense part of the, I don't know what you wanna call it. This budget is greater than the money coming in from the millage, so there is a transfer from fund balance for $18,604. Now, is that was the case last year too? Was we had fund balance for the fire department last year too?
Correct.
But at the end of the year, it wasn't needed, once the audit was done and everything, or do you remember?
I mean, I gotta look at the audit.
Well, the audit's a year and a half ago, really, so. We have a fund balance for $18,604. So, I guess I don't have any more questions on that. I have a question on the changes in the budget. I guess the state's mandate is now that things like perpetual care and longevity and some of the other funds that we used to put money into now has gotta be put in, I don't even know where it's being put in now.
It all went into the fund, if you look at the treasurer's report, I mean, like the longevity, we have restricted cash. In the fire department, they didn't want us to have separate funds, they wanted it all in the department that it goes in. This is what, our auditor wanted.
So you're saying on the
They want,
treasurer's report here where all these numbers are, saying where all the money is and everything?
no, that's, you see that restricted cash longevity, that was a longevity fund. The cemetery was rolled into, general fund. That's where the cemetery costs come out of.
I'm sorry, I'm not understanding. Oh, okay, restricted cash, I see that. And the perpetual care fund,
That was rolled into the general fund, because all our cemetery expenses come from the general fund.
wasn't, there, was that the only two? There was a couple more accounts before too, right?
Well, there was a capital equipment fund, and that was set up for the fire department to get, that was rolled into the general fire department fund.
So at the present time, the fire department has money on hand of $400,218.32. Would that be correct? Or am I way off
That's
base?
this month's,
That is correct.
Okay,
That was at, month end of January, so January 31st,
Yeah.
that was what we had.
okay. And that's with those other things like, this time last year, the longevity net wouldn't be in that number then, right?
That is correct. There was in a separate fund. So you could deduct that 83,863, that was in that separate fund.
Now, these monies that's in these banks and everything, they're drawing interest, right?
They all are but Alden. Alden won't pay interest, so.
Okay, so First Merit Bank, where now the longevity money is, do you take whatever that longevity money would get from interest and keep it in this longevity restricted cash number, or does that just go into the general fund for the fire department?
Right now, so both the fire checking and the fire money market both make interest. And the longevity fund is within that money market account. It's, just restricted cash from that account.
So you keep track of what's being added to the longevity right along then, with
Well-
from the interest payments?
The interest payment stays with the money market because what we do with the restricted fund is at the year end, we look at how much we need to allocate for, it's funding, what's it called? It's not a pension or anything, but I don't know the word.
It's a longevity
Longevity
fund.
pay.
The longevity payment, so when a firefighter retires.
Right, I
Whatever.
understand what it's for.
Right, so it actually, it doesn't need to make its own interest because we factor what it's having. So it's just the fire department's money, so the interest stays with the fire department, but we don't allocate it to the restricted cash since we figured out what the amount is that we need every year for that.
So in essence, if the township was in a bind with the fire department budget, they could take that money that has in the past been used for longevity, they could use it for something else if they wanted to?
No, it's restricted.
We're keeping it restricted. We want it funded.
Restricted,
But perpetual care is not restricted?
No.
It's kind of, well, it's not the same thing, but it's the same idea. One's to take care of longevity, one's to take care of the cemetery, right?
Well, we take care of the cemetery out of the general fund.
Well, thank you very much for being patient with me. I appreciate it.
Okay, Anyone else have any questions on the budget?
I was confused in the waste receiving station. Does it make money, lose money, or break even?
I told you it lost a little over $2,000 last year.
Is this year, is it projected to lose money?
We were pretty close the last time I looked. I mean, now we won't, we're close enough to the end of the year, we'll just wait to the end of the year and go from there. You know, nationally, we always have the ability to adjust costs.
The goal of it is to break even, though, right?
The
Not
goal
fund
is
the
to
tax
break
dollars.
even.
Okay, that was my basic question.
Right, we do not want to make any money on it. My personal feelings is we don't have a large pickup. If we do subsidize it, a small amount, I think that's fine. But if it gets too far out of hand, yes, we'll have to increase costs.
What we really want to do over the years is we don't want to make money on it. We want it to sustain itself, plus pay the wages up there for the guys.
So if there's not any additional questions, we'll adjourn the public hearing.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn the public hearing.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Right. Have a question?
Yeah, I just thought I was on the agenda for tonight.
Yes, you are. This is a public hearing on the
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
budget, 1 hour ahead of time, Bob.
Okay.
And yeah, we put you out as an agenda item. I read it.
You thought you were late, but you were actually early, Bob. I said you thought you were late, but you were actually early.
I had to do a few minutes ago.